Nigeria's fight against poverty is gaining momentum through renewed social intervention efforts. The federal government is expanding its conditional cash transfer program to reach more vulnerable households, while rolling out the 200 billion naira special intervention fund to boost small businesses and agriculture. Minister of State for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Tanko Sununu, says the government is shifting its focus to performance-based delivery to ensure that results reach the communities most in need. He also confirmed emergency food interventions in vulnerable areas as rising hunger affects nearly 25 million Nigerians. Sununu added that over 3 million internally displaced persons are being targeted with new livelihood support under the government's Integrated Poverty Reduction Plan. For more on the government's efforts in tackling poverty, we're joined live in the studio by the Minister of State for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sununu. I beg your pardon. It's great to have you this morning, Minister.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right.
With a little bit of correction, the ministry is Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, not alleviation.
Okay, thanks for that. The ministry is relatively new compared to other government ministries. It was set up in 2019 under President Muhammad Buhari. In that period, a few years, there has been, or it has been mired in scandals. You know, if it's not Sadi Farouk, it is Halima Shehu and then Betta Edu. I'd like you to tell us or talk to us about what the ministry internally is doing during this period that you have been here to create a culture that makes sure that there is no toying of government funds and stealing and leakages being plugged.
Well, thank you very much for this for having me this morning and for this very important topic. What the ministry is doing, we just start from the office of the president. You have alluded to so many accusations that were there before, which made the president to decisively act to restore the dignity and functionality of the ministry by changing almost all the structure of the ministry, starting from the minister. Initially, there was a minister in the ministry, but as today, there are two ministers, minister and minister of state, and also the permanent secretary and virtually all the head of departments, and even the main anchor of the social net safety net program of the federal government, the National Social Investment Program Agency. Virtually all the national coordinator and national program managers and the head of departments were almost all replaced by a new set of people. And this is to instill confidence and to ensure that, to also make the people working within the framework that nobody is above the law and anybody who erred will be decisively dealt with by the president. And that has really sounded a strong notice to everyone, and everyone is ready to work well. Now, on the ministry also, we have tried as much as possible to try to have a transparency and accountability framework that will guide our performance. And in doing that, we had a lot of, first of all, we had a major stakeholders engagement that comprises all the state actors, the federal level actors, and also development partners and civil society groups. And this is to tell the people that we are ready to instill that accountability framework that will, as much as possible, try to block leakages in the ministry. And we have also gone ahead to ensure that we have a robust engagement between the ministry and the Bureau of Public Enterprises so that we can be well guided on the procedures and processes of procurement process in the ministry so that avoid sharp practice and that can easily be addressed. While we're also avoiding sharp practice, the procurement process, engagement with the Bureau of Public Procurement, giving us the need for all of us to see how we can streamline our action, because emergency services and also humanitarian aids are something that you need to expedite. But while also expediting that, you must be conscious of the rules of the game in terms of doing it according to the extant law. Now, moving forward also, we have had a lot of capacity building in collaboration with the Office of the Civil Service, so that we also know not only procurement process, but also the guiding principle that is mandated within the civil service rules and regulations, so that we can all be guided. Just About 3 days ago, we had one engagement at the Zuma Rock, was it motel or hotel, I can think, that we will try to also review our performance management system and see how we can forward a framework that will give us action to guide to what we are going to do. And as much as possible, we also try to block leakages. And as also I want to mention here that certain processes that are not of any benefit to the system is being avoided. All right.
There are several, or there have been several projects, social intervention projects over the years under the APC government. So there was the End Power program, conditional cash transfer, National Homegrown School Feeding program, Government Enterprise and Empowerment program, a grant for vulnerable groups, and Renewed Hope conditional cash transfer. Tell me about how, you know, any of these have changed lives, and we need data and statistics here, and what difference it is making and still making it in the lives of people.
Well, you see, let's look at it closely. Why also the National Social Program? The National Social Program is a flagship program of the federal government trying to reach out to identify vulnerable groups and then to reach them and provide them with social protection, so that the means of livelihood, food, education, health, and what have you, that will make you to feel that you are cared for by your government is taken care of, and so that everybody will have dignity protected. And that is the aim of Mr. President of ensuring of those national social program. They have impacted a lot. For instance, the conditional cash transfer, that is one of the major issues before going into that is to tell you that as of today, Nigeria has succeeded in developing National Social Register, which is the 5th largest in the world and the largest one in Africa, that contains almost 18.9 million households, which is almost getting to more than 90 million Nigerians who are in the household, members of household that are in National Social Register. What are the advantages of this? Social inclusion. They know that they are included. They can also be supported financially. They can be reached out through education measures, through other measures. And in fact, it also gives us a framework that even our development partners are now using it to reach their social intervention. And I must also that the Chief Elumelu Foundation is one of the major organizations in Nigeria that is utilizing our National Social Register to reach out to vulnerable groups in terms of the assistance they are ready to render. So that register was developed and is now used for our social intervention, most especially the conditional cash transfer. There was a period when people argue about National Social Register, but the last meeting we had, even the state now are using their own state single register.
But do we have a data of how many people we've lifted out of poverty with all these programs that we
that is why I'm coming now. So yes. The target of Mr. President is to reach before the end of the year 10 million households, which is almost 50 million Nigerians. You understand? And the President found that a lot of you can see this here now. There are a lot of devastation in terms of flooding and other issues. So President raises the target of this national strategy to reach out to 15 million. And so far, with continuous cash transfer, we have reached out to 8,104,000 Nigerians with conditional cash transfer in 3 tranches. Though some are yet to get their 3rd tranches because it's a monthly interval. But each tranches, average Nigerian is reached to 25,000 naira in 3 tranches, making it 75,000 per person.
Okay, so, Honorable Minister, if just to set the record straight and to bring the narrative into a very specific form that can relate with the public, you are the undertaker of the President's poverty intervention plan in the country. Nigerians, millions of Nigerians look up to you for respite in this area. But with the World Bank alarming that we have 139 million Nigerians still living below poverty line, isn't that disturbing? And when we look at the global trend of world powers that have been funding an aid program in countries like Nigeria, withdrawing it, how have you been able to manage the expected stress on this poverty reduction plan?
You see, President is aware of that, and that's why initially I told you that President targeted 10 million households, which is almost 50 million Nigerians. And then because of a lot of issues that you can agree that in the last 2-3 months, a lot of people that are initially well-to-do because of the devastating flood that has caused them to lose life and many issues. A lot of them will have been moved from non-vulnerable to vulnerable groups. And that's why President now say, okay, rather than reaching out 10 million Nigerians, let's fast track to reach 15 million Nigerians. And also the gap of funding, because initially the fund is for 10 million. The President has made available the gap of funding for the remaining 5 million to make it 15 million, so that by the end of December, we are going to reach 15 million Nigerians. And if you are a household, and if you are this, that's almost 90 million Nigerians. So this is all in an effort to ensure that we are moving with time. The more there are issues that put people or make them to be more vulnerable, the more the target is shifted forward so that more Nigerians can be accommodated to reach our social register. Yes, we are quite agreed that we had this issue that not only in Nigeria, the whole global funding in terms of grant and aid is really shrinking. And no country will leave this in. Just yesterday, we had a roundtable meeting with in the office of the Federal the Minister of Budget and National Planning with the United Nations and all its agencies and other development partners, including the National Institute for Peace and Reconciliation. We had that meeting, and what was the aim of that meeting? To see how we can now develop a framework that will allow Nigeria to shift from reactive responses in terms of emergency to more proactive responses that will give us the ability to have anticipatory response preparedness, and that will give us right to reach out our target of the vulnerables in a shorter period of time. And this has also come forward with a lot of funding that we are going to soon enjoy and have the program. We quite agree. We also look inward to see how can we and that's why we also strengthen that our transparency and accountability framework must be instituted and followed to data, and then we're blocking leakages and also reaching out to mobilize more domestic resources for funding. And I've mentioned a lot of Nigerians are ready to do that. I've just given an example of
we need to come into this conversation now, so it won't be close to a monologue. In talking about your transparency and accountability framework now, what goes into this social register, because it has over time come under intense controversy? How much are you partnering with the NIMC in terms of NIN registration and to make it more forensically proven to avoid diversion of funds? Yes.
Thank you so much. This is very, very vital. The ministry and also the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu always preaches collaborations. Now, when the social register was initially developed, it falls short of some of those identification reliabilities that will give you reliable that look. If you say this is that, it's just like now, nobody can claim my own passport, because even if we have the same name, we share a different passport number. So President gave directives, and also CBN complied, and the ministry complied with that, to get everybody who is enrolled in the National Social Register to have at least two basic national digital identity. One, you must have your NIN, National Identification Number. The advantage of this, you are included, you have your ID card, you can go anywhere to show that you are a Nigerian. And two, you must also have bank verification number. And once you have your bank verification number, it means you have to have an account number. And this now brings you to be financially included in Nigeria, so that anything that can benefit people who are included financially, you are there. Anything that has to do with soft loan, anything that has to do with grant, that has to do with those identifications, you are there. So, and this is where that brought us to collaboration with NIMC, because traditionally NIMC are the owners and the holders of the...
Are you publishing the names publicly so that people could see those that have benefited from the scheme?
You see, putting names in this thing becomes this thing. We have to also look that there's a data protection rules in Nigeria. Okay. For instance, now, if you put my name, you put my NIN, you put my BBN, you put my name, and you put my age, you put my this thing, a lot of people can use that to clone a card from my name. And they can also go ahead to use this. But what we are saying, that anybody who wants to verify, the ministry is open. You can come to freedom of information. You require all the data that are allowed within the law will also be given to you. Then secondly, you can also reach state office. This is not entirely federal government activities. It's a collaboration between state and the federal government, and that is always what the president preaches: collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. And then instead we have state operation coordinated units, who are even the ones that generated data from world unit level in terms of using geo-targeting, community-based targeting, and then other targeting to get those who are vulnerable and compile them to have state single register. And those state single register is now forwarded to federal government through the National Social Safety Net Coordinating Office to develop the National Social Register. And the payment, anybody that is paid through this SOCU. So SOCU will now go to the local government and make payments. So we are soon going to publish what each state has, and then we also give contact number of the SOCUs, so that if you don't rely, you can come to our office, verify, and then you go back to SOCUs and then confirm what we have given to you if there's any disparity.
All right.
And then even the SOCUs will now connect you to beneficiaries, so that you can also get and hear from them what is their perception, what is their how much they have benefited.
Mr. Minister, there is that valid and often debated question about whether the country needs an entire ministry for poverty poverty reduction, humanitarian services, and whether doling out cash to people is the best way to lift them out of poverty. Let's have your reaction to that.
You see, the necessity of the ministry is a global phenomenon, because everybody knows shocks are much. Before, nobody talks of climate change in the last 40 years. I'm sure when Mr. Benga was in secondary school or even university, that has not been, but now it's becoming what? Being seen day by day because of the effect of global warming, and it is bringing a lot of shock. Let's look at just in one rainfall, see how much devastation is brought in Mokwa in Niger State. You can see these are all effects of our global warming. So the humanitarian challenges and poverty is on the increase globally, not here. We have just mentioned that. You mentioned that the global funding is shrinking. So that is needed for the ministry to take care of that.
Okay, because of our timing.
Yes.
Because of our timing, let's just quickly address this. Nigeria is home to over 8 million internally displaced persons. How is your ministry tackling this?
We are tackling the ministry, the issue of internally displaced persons through various means. I just mentioned yesterday. Yesterday, we had a meeting in the office of the Minister of Budget that I earlier referred to, with all development partners. And what is that meeting? Development durable solution for the internally displaced persons. You understand? You see, you mentioned figure. Even if it's just 1 million, that's good enough to say that the country that cares, with the president who is also conscious about it, who is also democratic, knows that everybody has right to protection. So President has given us a matching order, and we are working to see how we are developing durable solutions. And with those durable solutions, not only that, we are also intervening, we are settling. For instance, we have refugees in Chad Republic. We brought more than 7,000 back to Borno State. We are developing a program to bring in those in the Niger Republic. Here locally also, we are developing resettlement cities in various areas that have much burden of the internally displaced person. For instance, we are grateful to First Lady, distinguished Senator Remi Tinubu, that was in Nasarawa State to commission the Renewed Hope, Renewed Hope resettlement city, and that is a complete one-stop preparation that have everything: school, financial institution, security, drainage, and what have you.
Unfortunately, we have to go, but Minister of State for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sununu, thank you for being with us on Daybreak today.
Thank you for having me. And once more, I want to thank the management of Arise TV for always giving us this, particularly my ministry. We have featured in this studio more than 20 times personally, and even my ministers.
We're happy to have you again.
Sometimes, even yesterday when he disturbed me, I said, look, Ben, I'm not only...
we are bound by Section 22 to hold public officers accountable.
Thank you for doing that.
All right, we have to go. That's all we have time for here on Daybreak. It's goodbye from me, Constance Ikoku.
And please do keep it here on Arise News. The morning show is up next. Goodbye from me, Benga Ashuri.